Okay, so what got me on this subject was a series that's on YouTube called The Y Files, and the subject has to deal with what the military can do. Basically, this one's going to be about with the Air Force. I learned this firsthand uh, from my father, being in the Air Force slash, well, Army Air Corps slash Air Force. And he started out fighting in the South Pacific, bomber on the ground, bomber pilot. And then after the war, he was stationed in Japan for 2 years from 47 to 49. After doing his service there, he came back stateside, and then he was shipped over to the Panama Canal, where he was there for a couple of years. And then he ended up joining into the military police, did that for a while, then come back stateside, and that'd be around 1950. From there on in, things got real sketchy, because him and a group of other people got together and they went around different military bases, and what they did is tested the security that was going on there, and also if there was an objective they had to get rid of. That could be anybody. So that went on for a number of years of doing that. After that, he got out of the Air Force because he was married. My mom got pregnant. She did not want to go. He was going to be going back to Japan, and my mom didn't want to go overseas, so that was the end of his career in the Air Force. So let's go up to the present time. And well, not the present time. I would say this is going to be about 1974, 75. And what I'm talking about is what the military can do and what they do. And like I said, I learned a lot from my dad and what he had done, and his people that were in the military with him, doing the same thing, going around to different bases, getting rid of people, testing security, and so on. So after that, 1974, I met a friend of mine. His name, I'll call him Dan. And me and my friends, we were all about 18, 19, and Dan was about 22, 23 years old. So what took place is he was drafted, and he was a obconscious objector. He was part of the Jehovah's Witness Church, and his mom, they all came up there and fought for him. So the military said, okay, we'll do this. Here's what we'll do. You won't have to go in the military, but you have to go to work for a non-profit organization for a couple of years, or 3 years, or whatever it was. I'm not quite sure how many years it was. So that occurs. So this is how I met Dan. I became a truck driver and drove truck for Goodwill. I'm the guy that went around to the Goodwill boxes they had back in those times, and I would go there with the truck and unload them, clean them, and then deliver all the stuff back. So as it goes, Dan serves his time in there, and it comes up to the last day he has to be working, and then he's going to head back to Ukiah, California. And to add a little bit more to the story, my dad and Charles Berge, they were both in the Air Force. And then another guy that was a little bit older than I am, his name is Rick. He was in the Army, or the Marine Corps. And at that time, I lived on next to the Van Nuys Airport, next to a bomb factory, and right next there was the Air Force base. And so they didn't quite really like Dan. Didn't like him at all. Matter of fact, you know how that goes. So what takes place It's Dan's last day. All right, man, I'll see you, man. Have a good time, man. This is all over with, man. You did it all, okay? So he goes off, and then he comes back about 5, 6 in the afternoon, and this guy is crazier than hell. Off his rocker. Something flipped his cookies, and days go by. A friend of mine, Ed, come over. I go, hey man, let's go see Dan, but I'm going to tell you, man, something has happened to him. He is crazier than hell. He is 3 clicks out in the left field. So we go over there. Now Ed is not well educated, and you know, kind of pretty simple mind person. He's an Apache Indian from New Mexico. We've been good friends since we were 13, 14 years old. We hung out with each other. Here we are, 18, 19. And we go over there, and Ed's like, he sees Dan, and Ed realizes he has the upper hand. Yep. He's like, Dan's crazy, man. I can take advantage of this moment, and Ed does. I go, hey, man, just, you know, be cool, man. Something's happened to this dude. And so weeks go by, and he wanders around town crazier than hell. We saw him a few times. He went and walked into somebody's home and thought it was given to him by God and all this stuff. Weird shit just going on. Eventually, I had to call his mom. I said, told her that, man, Dan has flipped his cookies. He's no longer coherent of what's going on, and he's not coming back. So you need to come down here and get a hold of him. So we're over at Dan's place, and a knock comes on his apartment door, and there's this mom. She realizes firsthand that he is gone, and off he goes. His mom takes him, and they leave, and don't see him for a couple of years. I ended up getting married to him on a honeymoon. We stopped by in Ukiah to see Dan. Now we're talking 2.5 years later. Go up there, still the same. Crazier than a jaybird. Way off its rocker. And that goes to show you what they can do and what they will do. And that's the end of this segment. But check out the Y-Files. It's on YouTube. Really good show about what the Air Force had did to another guy about UFOs. All right, that's the end of this one. Sayonara. Hasta la vista.